There are many simple things in the world. Shovels. They are all different. Gardening shovel. Unloading shovel. Children's shovel. But there is also a different shovel. We use it when we come to the position. In short time, it helps us dig a trench which saves us from bullets. If a tank will pass over the trench, there is a high probability that it will not cause any harm to the soldier. We dig in the ground, deeper, and then connect the trenches with our friends to the left. In just a few hours, trenches are all connected. When we do not have an axe, we can use a shovel to cut a loaf of bread. A soldier uses a shovel as a paddle, crossing the wide river under enemy fire. If we run out of ammunition, we will use a shovel again, and then we'll move on. And when we get the order to stop, we'll take a shovel again and build around us an impregnable fortress. This fortress is defended by the army of Ukraine, our army.
Broadcasting live from the basement of the Pentagon. This is WTF Nation Radio.
I looked my woman in the eye sockets. I told her straight out. I just said it, man. I said it. I said, bitch, I'm the man of the house.
Yeah, you said bitch, though. You called your wife a bitch.
Yeah.
This is a public service announcement from C.T. Fletcher. I will not contribute to the pussification of a nation. Get your punk ass out there and work for it, motherfucker.
Let's roll.
It's Monday. Broadcasting live from the Functional Veterans Center of Excellence on this 10 March 2025 in the year of our holy shit news media dumpster fire. This is Monday edition. I'm your host, Ice, Ken, whatever you want to call me, the I.O. guy. Hope you all doing good today. Deep within the basement of the Pentagon. Somewhere in Area 51. Maybe in the Alamo, maybe in the Stargate somewhere in Cheyenne Mountain, or Space Force Vandenberg Base, Vandenberg Space Force Base. I keep getting that wrong. Sorry. Anyway, hope you all doing good. And this time change, holy crap! I'm out and about. I'm confused. I missed some meetings. I'm missing meetings and stuff like that. I'm missing some times. And I'm like, it's still sunlight. The ambiance behind me cannot be displayed to its 4K glory, or 1080p, I should say. Glory, due to the fact that the, man. Oh, hey, what's up, Sports Bar? Seeing all the usuals inside the chats and all of the chats. You can also go to YouTube. So you can see all the chats put together in one combined chat. At U.S. Army W.T.F. Moments is a one YouTube, but all the single, I guess you could say the single channel chats, where everyone else is at, where everyone else is conglomerated together, you can see it at WTF Nation Radio's YouTube page. Also, you can also here, check this out. You guys already heard that there's going to be a shuttering of all of our all of our lives are going to get deleted off of Facebook once they exceed 30 days from a broadcast. So if you guys that are running your media lives and stuff like that, your media lives on your pages, then of course you're gonna get caught up in like, hey, where was this video that I saw a long time ago when you had somebody from somebody on and somebody came on and discussed this and discussed that. You won't be able to see the somewhere that hasn't been anywhere gutted from big balls. Yeah, ooh, yeah, big balls. We're gonna talk about that in a minute. But real quick, just some real admin notes. So, anyways, if you go to the front of U.S. Army WTF moments, and you'll see you'll see all the little action buttons there. If you go to watch now, you see it flashing, and you click on that, then you'll be able to see me or every other show live right there. So you just click on that, and you'll be able to go to YouTube, and kablam, you're right there. And every single show that we've ever done live has been saved for a long, going all the way back to 2015, 2016. So all the shows that you see, all of our live shows are not gone away. So it's only happening on Facebook that if you do go to, if you do a live 30 days from that, it'll come off of the timeline. Is it already being implemented? This takes effect in June. So I'm just giving you guys a heads up. That way you can all just see all the chats. Matter of fact, that's where that consolidated chat is at, where everybody can see everybody. That's where I can see all the chats in one spot for me, and then you can see all the other chats, everybody else. And mind you, if you post something on there, I could see who's been blocking each other and who's not been blocked. It's been pretty funny watching all that. So again, that's the that right there is just a real quick admin note. Somebody asked, hey, so are all the videos that you've posted on U.S. Army WTF Moments and WTF Nation Radio Live, are they going to be up there? No, they will not. They will not be up there after 30 days from broadcast. So just make sure. Of course, Twitter and YouTube's will all be there, and then any other platforms that we decide to go on next. Somebody said we should go to Rumble or something like that. What was the other one? What's the other alternative? I shouldn't say alternative. Other platform, I get the alternate platform. So anyway, I wonder if in the Internet Archive will back their URLs up. I don't know, Patrick. I don't know. That's a good question though. If they will back them up, who knows? So we got a lot of news today. But real quick, just letting you guys know, we have Aaron Watson coming back. He was the guest that discussed the sexual assault / cover up / cover up and punishments of his the OnlyFans that we should broadcast on OnlyFans. So he's going to be joining us to give us an update from his last appearance on WTF Nation Radio, and boy, he's got some good updates. So I can't wait for him to come on. He's tagged in the main page post. So if you go to U.S. Army WTF Moments, you can see his page tagged as well. So I'm looking forward to that. Gonna be some good updates. So anyways, no, we're not going to have OnlyFans. I'm sorry. No OnlyFans for us. I don't know. I'm not good enough. I'm not good looking enough for an OnlyFans account. Sorry. So anyway, so in the news real quick. So everybody who's been tracking what's been going on with X, if you guys are on X, I guess it got hacked a bunch of times. All I know is that there was a couple of tweets and posts that I would like to have made, and the timeline was blank. Something went wrong. That's always the X method of, oh shit, something happened. Something went wrong. And we couldn't, at least none of us could put a Grinder. Ooh, you want me to go to Grinder? Nah, I'm too ugly for that. So, but at any rate, yeah, so X went down intermittently, off and on, pretty much most of the morning into the early afternoon, and supposedly was some hackers from everybody and anybody pointing fingers, individuals staking claims, saying that they were the ones that did it. And then there were the ones that, another one says it was a connection to Iran. Another one says it was a connection to Ukraine. Another one says a connection to Russia. So it's who fucking knows. currently right now, our social media sphere within the U.S. government and the military, the Army specifically, because we are U.S. Army WTF Moments, straight trash fire. That's what happens when you wreck your sock team. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, never know. Are you saying that they got doged? They were part of the original team, but they got doged? Is that what you're saying? Is that what you're saying, Keith? They got doged, and that's why some disgruntled employees. But again, yeah. So everyone was what's going on with this? What's going on with that? How do we what's going on here? Individuals who are specifically addicted to their platforms. I know there's the ones that love Instagram, only do Instagram, stay on Instas, stay on the IGs, and that's it. That's their platform. That's their and then of course there's TikTok. Stitch coming. TikTok is the most fastest growing clout chasing platform out there. That's actually exceeding that of Instagram. And then of course there you have your Twitter or X audience and followers and subscribers. And then of course finally Facebook, which has been known to be the old people's it's what the ancients use. It's Facebook. I kind of think Facebook and Instagram are the same thing. Actually, all of them are pretty clout chasing anyways, if you look at it and, do they do the pucker lip? Look at me. So it's funny. Sorry, somebody said either disqualify a disgruntled employee or the lack of any after trashing them with a Chinese laptop. Someone said what? It was an Iranian near Ukraine in Russia. Okay. That's one hypothesis. Have you seen White House Down? It's a great movie. Yeah, I haven't really seen it. So, but yeah, I think I have seen that movie. It actually is a pretty good movie. But yeah, so Elon, of course, went online and saying that he thinks he knows who it is, or is blaming everybody already, saying somewhere in the Ukraine or the Ukraine area. I think it's funny. Again, I'll just say it. Our comms suck. Our media sucks, man. I'll just say it right now. Every time there's something that's posted on the government from the DOD, and we want to post something, we want to say something, it just gets, I don't know, it just feels like it's only on one platform, X. I don't like it. I don't want to sound like a boomer. But I cannot be a boomer because I'm not of the age bracket to be a boomer. I don't sound too old, but really, just staying and putting all your information out on X. A lot of information has been posted out there that's been this is reported as fake news. This is not true, blah, blah, blah. But you got to get an X account. So if you want your media, you got to subscribe for it. Or if you do, only certain subscribers can add and react to it. So it's really a bummer, man. It kind of sucks when you think about it. You can't have any good news or something like that, and then somebody else comes along and tracing. I'm going back to MySpace. Yeah, tell me about it. MySpace? No. I guarantee it. MySpace, this generation, the younger generation, would not be able to handle MySpace. And the reason why is that you would have individuals creating stitches on TikTok on how they were not friends in the top 10 friends. Top 10 friends. You couldn't do it. You couldn't do it in this day and age. You get boomer points for the get off my lawn outburst. What are you talking about? That's not a get off my lawn outburst. See, okay, let's do a little test here. Since you bring it up, Keith, I'm not picking on you. I'm just in the discussion. The chair is against the wall. Have it jumped on Blue Sky? You on that yet, man? Jumped on Blue Sky is nothing but fucking whining. I'm just sorry. It's just whining. Everything's whining about it. No solutions brought forward. Everything's whining. Everything's an attack. Everything's a microaggression. Everything's a fucking, you say anything, and the reason why the military has these specific processes, and then someone says that's woke, or someone will say that's fascism. That's the new thing. The woke and the fascism is now the new back and forth. Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah, you're right, Pip. MySpace taught us how to code in HTML. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you ain't lying. X is still being twitchy. It's still being twitchy right now. I don't even know if we're even up on X now because the way X is Xing. Let's see. Yeah, dude. Doesn't even look like it. Is X even indicating right now? Let's see. Let me see. Yeah. X is like, yeah, it's all glitching right now. Very, very glitchy. Yeah, there you go. It taught us how to copy and Heather, what do you mean it taught us how to copy and paste? I think it was kind of some I think I saw some boobies on X earlier. We're back in business. Okay. Send Bob's. Yeah, no, it didn't really just teach copy and paste. It just taught us that if you do a code and you change a code or you put something specific on there. So in a way, the copy and paste part of MySpace was pretty good. So anyways, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to detract. I love shooting and shit with you guys in the fucking chat. So my apologies for not staying on the agenda, for not staying. I mean, it's kind of like the way it is. Anyways, so real quick shout out to PCS like a pro, answering some questions from us. When we ask a question that has to do with your household goods, we at U.S. Army WTF Moments want to get down to the deets and say, hey, what's the deal with this, and what's the deal with that, and how come it's illegal to do this? So there was a post that we tagged PCS like a pro. Of course, Megan has been the sage wisdom of that page for us, because I didn't realize PCSing was going to be such a hot button topic, almost like the DFACs, right? And it's a PCS mess, exactly. So I always defer to Megan every time she'll have some information come out or something like that, and I'll hit her up on the inbox and say, hey, what's the status of this? And did you see this? And usually our inboxes are matching pretty good. So this right here, these are U-Hauls that are parked butt to butt, doing a freight hauling company, Eagle Transfer, and we've been told that these were loaded by cash day laborers for Eagle, and they drove and parked there waiting to be cross-loaded and consolidated into a big freight truck. And it's in a high crime area. And so there are other moving companies in the area who've watched the U-Hauls just sit, check by, and they're not locked. Some have been towed. So these would be GHC shipments under Home Safe, and they're using freight haulers, which currently isn't allowed under the legacy DPS program. Also, we could see that website image that we cropped on there, because there you go. Let me get a little closer. Let me zoom in on that right there. They're not authorized to move household goods. If they were, there would be an X next to the general freight and motor vehicles. That means if those shipments are loose loaded onto a freight trailer, they're being hauled illegally. So this is crazy. I still cannot believe that of all the, hey, look, I got it. We have new comms, we have new media methods of discussing stuff and all that, but we need answers. We need answers on this aspect, because families now have had their whole goods loose loaded, and I'm going to show you a picture in a minute. Loose loaded their household goods, their belongings just packed up, and that's it. Everyone needs to check. There you go. Oh, thank you, Meg. Megan's in the chats right there. PCS like a pro. Everyone needs to check the FMCSA website and when the freight truck shows up. So, yeah. This is. I mean, okay. Are we? we were like almost like a couple months into the new administration with some new changes, and things are going to be great and all that stuff. And we still have chow issues with BAS. We still have soldiers in fucking moldy barracks, and now we have a complete and utter clusterfuck when it comes to our household goods. So now we're getting it in all. Now our service members are getting it from all fronts, and there ain't no answers. No answers that we could see other than the fact that people are asking questions, and some of these companies have closed their comments. So I'm going to go to, and make sure you go on to PCS Like a Pro. They are on X also. But go to, who has Elon's number? Yeah, for real, man. That's all the brain power that we have to do this. I think we're doging the wrong motherfuckers is what I'm thinking. We have, man, Heather, are you reading my freaking notes, dude? So we have families sitting and waiting for housing over 90 days, spending thousands in out-of-pocket expenses. So here's an example. Check this out. PCS Like a Pro, of course. A Home Safe is using freight carriers to transport your household goods. Look at that. The shipment went from New Mexico to Virginia. The packing company ran out of boxes. The driver indeed did not have the straps or a ramp and said he normally doesn't move household goods. He normally doesn't move household goods. He normally delivers groceries. They loaded this truck up from a storage facility and took off across the country without us ever seeing or signing an inventory sheet as well. And this is from PCS Like a Pro. Again, for everyone, freight trucks will not have ramps or dollies. They will not have moving blankets or straps. They are used to bumping dock to dock. As we can see, the company still don't know what customer needs to see and sign the inventory before leaving. I mean, it doesn't take a rocket science or an Elon. I guess it doesn't take an owner of SpaceX to see that we're totally botching up this fucking household good stuff. These are your household goods, guys, gals, peeps. Sorry, I'm going to continue to say guys. You know, guys is the fucking gender universal term anyways. Dudes, guys, yo, guys, check this out. Hey, bros, homies, dudes. Dude, check it. Freight carriers who is Home Safe going to go after to move your shipments because the household goods moving industry is walking away. I'm still waiting for all this. You know, we all talk about the lethality stuff. I'm kind of waiting to see where all this lethality stuff's going to come in. In order for you to be lethality or to have lethal of excellence, you can't have your soldiers, your service members, I should say, because this is Transcom wide. You cannot have your service members having their household goods delivered like this, and then not getting fed in the DFAC, like we've seen. That's what's been reported, and their pay being on there or living in substandard conditions. Hi, PCS. Why doesn't DoD use pods? They probably cost a fraction of what the contract is. I know more than reliable. You know, I don't know. I don't know if, I'll be honest with you, and here's the way I see it. A lot of and this is from the housing world too, a lot of it is on who you know. Specific contracts and contractors and companies, like for instance, used for our housing, for our privatized housing. It's all on who you know and who's around the DC Beltway, who's able to fucking put a word in somebody's ear to say, hey, look, I know this company right here. This is better than this. We're going to do this right here. And they go, oh, Balfour Betty? Okay, yeah, we're going to do this. Yeah. We can hook us up and they could do this, they could do that. And then we could get all this money right here and do that. Yeah. That's how it works in DC. Literally how it works in DC. For anything. If only we could force politicians and the president to use the same process for moving. Yep. So like CSM General. Yeah. Oh, Lordy. Oh, let me fan myself with my AER propaganda. Oh yeah, that makes you donate to AER. I shouldn't say propaganda. I only say that because I'm a PSYOP guy. The adverts. Just kind of like the CSM General Rifle contract BS. Correct. For a while, HK, FN, and Colt were competing for a battle rifle or for a rifle, like Pip says. And then all of a sudden, the Colt won. And then who sits on the board of directors? General Casey, the Secretary of the Army, who allowed Colt to win, even though the Fish, also known as the XM8, won clearly between the M4 and the FN. So there you go. Susan says, Social Warrior, it was so mental, but we had to. They were putting warning labels on biology textbook, blah, blah, blah. Are we talking about the culture war on MySpace, how everyone was talking about? At any rate, so this is how your household goods are now being transported. I'm just currently waiting for the DOD response cell to say, nope, this is fake news. We don't know what you're talking about, blah, 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 blah. This is the ground level shit that needs to be heads up. This is where I expect to see members of Congress going, hey, why isn't this shit fixed? Why does our shit look like this? Ooh, yeah, good. Whoa, Megan brings up another good point, too. Going down the rabbit hole to see who at Transcom is connected to KBR. Love it. Ooh, Lordy. This is spicy. This right here is what I'm talking about. Of course, you bring this up. If you bring this up, of course, as an influencer / podcaster or whatever, then you are being a disruption to good order and discipline and being considered or called an insider threat just because you're highlighting that shit. It didn't fucking matter. This happened over the last 3 administrations. All of them. And everyone's been saying is, oh, it'll get better. Oh, this is what's going to happen, blah, blah, blah. Here's what we'll do for you. Okay. Insert Pepe Sylvia. Oof. Wait, what does Pepe Sylvia have to do? What? Did I miss a joke there? I missed something that's am I missing something? Yeah, so anyways, that's the deal with the household good stuff. I'm waiting to see what's going to happen next. We're going to continue to apply pressure, and this will be also a collaborative effort. It seems like we're doing a lot of great collabs, ain't it? PCS Like a Pro, U.S. Army WTF Moments. PCS Like a Pro, WTF Moments, and Hots and Cots. Hots and Cots currently right now, and the Army G1 and Army Reddit and WTF Moments are all kind of like, we're being told, like I said before, as we highlighted it before, in an Alarak and a Milper message, all of this is misleading, blah, 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 blah. Kind of like your soldiers telling you that you missed chow, and then you just say you file a missed meal, but the soldiers are still hungry. So we'll keep you guys up to date on that too. Another news, dude. Okay, now we break balls on Alex Jones a lot. We do break balls a lot on Alex Jones. I mean, I even have my tinfoil prop. I even imitate him. We go back and forth, and him bickering about psyopers and stuff like that, and how his view on psyop and blah 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 blah. But I don't know if you guys heard that his reporter Jamie White was attacked in Austin and was killed. He was killed outside his home in Austin, Texas. Which, whoa. Now, yeah, exactly that, PCS. Like, we're still hungry, still need a house, and still want our bed delivered on time. And all your certificates and your heirlooms are gone, by the way. So he was gunned down outside his home in Austin. I don't know if you guys, I know some of you guys are InfoWars followers, and all of you guys are, some of you guys are fans of InfoWars. So yeah, Keith says, well, it's Austin. Yeah. Yeah. So this is, that's fucked up, man. You're probably gonna see this more when anything that has to do with Elon, anything that has to do connected with some of these social media sites. Hell, you know, I've even got some people that they're mad at me. They're upset with me. And I've already said they want to do something to me. So, and members of the WTF Nation staff. So it's like, wow, okay. So this, I don't know. Does someone say that this is going to be considered responsible? Is he responsible or not responsible? I'm just reporting the fact that Jamie White was gunned down outside his home in Austin and was a member of the InfoWars team. So that's pretty fucked up. They all disowned InfoWars and friends anyways. Huh? What do you mean, Keith? What does that mean? So this is again, this is shocking to the didn't the Onion buy InfoWars? No, I don't think the Onion did buy the InfoWars. So reports that Alex Jones became worried, or his staff came worried when he didn't show up to his place of work. He didn't show up to work, so people are like wondering, oh shit, what's going on? And yeah, so this is it's fucking crazy, man. Oh yeah, did I see the last thing? Yeah. I saw that. Yeah, hang on. Somebody said, did you see his last post? Yeah. See, yes, I know guys in the WTF Nation, and there are friggin' some followers and shit. I know you guys watch that stuff. There we go. That's what his last post was. This is from Jamie White. He reposted from a post from Elon that says, yeah, quote, why are liberals so violent? Legacy media propaganda is a major part of the problem. So yeah. Head on a swivel, guys. Head on a fucking swivel. Anytime you discuss, now I'm not gonna go like, do I need to get my tinfoil cap, my tinfoil prop? I'm not gonna get all tinfoily, but there are those that want to silence those voices that are out there, and will have no fucking problem or say. I'm gonna tell you what, and here's the way I see it. Just see who has passed away, that of individuals that aren't liked or whatever, and I guarantee it, you're going to see individuals that will dance on your fucking grave when something happens to you. And that's a fact. They not only will they dance on your grave, but they'll say you deserved it and you did this. Even no matter what politics you have, even if you're on their side. That's a good question, Susan. Damn, you're being all philosophical and shit. Why are humans so violent? So more to follow on that. I just fucking sucks. You know, nobody should be fucking silenced for something like that. And of course, everyone says, "Oh, you know, silence." But anyhow, so that's the one of the news in the InfoWars sphere. So yes, we were already going to discuss it, and anyways, because it is news in that sphere. And like I said, we do. Like I said, on occasion I do mock. I'll say it. I'll mock and imitate Alex Jones's mannerisms and stuff on InfoWars, but I don't fucking wish any harm to any of their staff or him. That's just not the way it is. So. But yeah, humans are so violent. Exactly that. Why are humans so violent? So just breaking news before the show happened, before the show kicked off, is that a student at Roy J. Smith's middle school in Killeen, where a 14-year-old female student was fatally stabbed during a fight with another student. The event took place on Monday, today, leading to the immediate lockdown of the school. The suspect, also a student, was taken into custody by the school's police force. The Killeen Police Department has now launched a homicide investigation into the matter, while the school district has arranged counseling services for support to the students. And so that is that's sad as fuck. So here's the statement that was released. You can see right there. Here's the so upon arrival, officers located a 14-year-old female suffering from a stab wound. She was immediately transported to EMS at the Carl R. Darnell Army Medical Center in critical condition. Tragically, the victim succumbed to her injuries and was pronounced deceased at 12:21 p.m. by the Justice of the Peace, Gregory Johnson. So the preliminary indications The investigation indicates that there was a dispute between the two female students that escalated, resulting in one student stabbing the other. And the 14-year-old suspect was taken into custody. So, fuck. Tragic fucking event, man. How does... They will dance on my grave when I do burnouts in the street when I die. We're proportional with violence as a species, which is why we're more emotional. I have experience with some managers who always, right now, no matter what transpires, they seem to be the ones whom, when karma pays a visit, swept under the rug to avoid bad press. Oh yeah, you ain't lying about that. The bad press stuff, man. That seems to be going even in the military circles as well. But we don't talk about that. What's one TV show? Like, we don't talk about what movie we don't talk about Bruno. The same thing. We don't talk about CSMs or colonels. We don't talk about that. And then we got one more. What was the one more update on the fire situation? It rains and it fucking pours on Fort Cavazos. Just real quick, let me drop a statement right now. And just give you on the household goods fire that happened at Fort Cav. For those of you who are driving, I'm going to read it off. Some of it. And this was released as March 7th. I said I would rather discuss this openly and talk. Right now, AER is also out in assistance for the apartments fire. By the way, AER.org, hit them up, and they already have the team set up. But this is for the household goods fire. It is that several people have been assisted, and support is ongoing. The action center has been up, and the center is staffed with experts who will assist personnel affected by the recent fire that damaged and destroyed a number of warehoused household goods shipments belonging to military members and their families. So there is, over the weekend, and you can just go on to some of the Facebook groups. There's some drives and support groups and stuff like that are dropping off and donating some clothes for the apartment fires as well. And of course, if you're affected by the fire at Fort Cap, hit up AER.org, and then you'll be able to. And it's also they're on their Facebook page as well that they discussed it. So any individual questions, of course, call up their Servicing Installation Transportation Office, Fort Cav, at 1-800-521-9959. And I know Megan from PCS Like a Pro has been in the chats and also helping us out, coordinating some of this information too. So anyhow, I think I'm popping over here to see. Oh snap! Aaron's there. I think I kind of see Aaron just chilling in the green room there. Hang on. Yeah, there we go. I just popped him in there. So we'll be right back. We're going to take a break right quick, and then me and Aaron will get set up so we can. He's going to give us a good update. I know we've all been talking back and forth of what we we got this going on, we got that going on, but he's going to be able to give us a more articulate update from his last appearance on W.T.F. Nation Radio. So with that, I'm going to take a break right quick, and everyone refill your glasses, smoke them if you got them, hit the head, hit the latrine, shots.
WTF Nation Radio. WTF Nation Radio.
Take it from me, Ice. You can't just float around space not caring about stuff forever.
The voice of U.S. Army. WTF Moments. This is WTF Nation Radio.
Shit in the bag, Pogue.
Soldier's tale of wild misdeeds, from the chow hall to the PT grind. You won't believe the things you'll find. Drill sergeant's rage, a fiery storm. Private tensions far from the norm in the shadows where the secrets lie. Army W.T.F, you can't deny. Army top of the stories unfold. In the heart of the chaos, the truth is told. From the field to the base, the legends grow. The so deep, a midnight rain, no time for sleep. It moves straight like gold in hand. The strangest sights in this foreign land. Drill sergeants rage, a fiery storm. Private antics far from the norm in the shadows where the secrets lie. Army W.T.F, you can't deny. Army W, the stories unfold. In the heart of the chaos, the truth is told. From the field to the base, the legends grow. Army W, the force, the madness we know. The mud so deep, a midnight rain, no time for sleep. It moves straight like gold in hand. The strangest sights in this foreign land. Drill sergeants rage, a fiery storm. Private antics far from the norm in the shadows where the secrets lie. Army W.T.F, you can't deny. Army W, the stories unfold. In the heart of the chaos, the truth is told. From the field to the base, the legends grow. Army W, the force, the madness we know. In the ranks where the wild things roam, every soldier's got a tale of their own. From the absurd to the downright strange. Army W, the force, it never will change. So raise a glass to the tales untold. In the Army's world where the brave and bold live the moments that make us say Army W, the force, every single day.
I am here determined to stop this future atrocity.
This station is now the ultimate power in the universe. I suggest we...
In the barracks where the madness breeds, a soldier's tale of wild misdeeds. From the chow hall to the PT grind, you won't believe the things you'll find. Drill sergeant's rage, a fiery storm. Private tensions far from the norm in the shadows where the secrets lie. Army W.T.F you can't deny. Army of the stories unfold. In the heart of the chaos, the truth is told. From the field to the base, the legends grow. Army of the force, the madness we know. A Humvee stuck in the mud so deep. A midnight rain, no time for sleep. Emerge straight like gold in hand. The strangest sights in this foreign land. Drill sergeant's rage, a fiery storm. Private antics far from the norm in the shadows where the secrets lie. Army W.T.F you can't deny. Army of the stories unfold. In the heart of the chaos, the truth is told. From the field to the base, the legends grow. Army of the force, the madness we know. A Humvee stuck in the mud so deep. A midnight rain, no time for sleep. Emerge straight like gold in hand. The strangest sights in this foreign land. Drill sergeant's rage, a fiery storm. Private antics far from the norm in the shadows where the secrets lie. Army W.T.F you can't deny. Army of the stories unfold. In the heart of the chaos, the truth is told. From the field to the base, the legends grow. Army of the force, the madness we know. In the ranks where the wildlings roam. Every
I am here determined to stop this future atrocity.
This station is now the ultimate power in the universe. I suggest we use it.
The voice of U.S. Army, WTF Moments. This is WTF Nation Radio.
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
Everything stated on WTF Nation Radio is to be considered the opinion of the person that stated it, and not an official representation of WTF Nation Radio or U.S. Army WTF Moments.
Price does not include tax, title, or license. Some assembly required. Each item sold separately. Batteries not included. Objects in mirror are closer than they appear. If conditions persist, contact a physician. Individual results may vary. Keep out of the reach of children. Avoid prolonged exposure to direct sunlight. Keep in a cool, dark place. And
please enjoy the show. Shots.
Back. Woo! Hey, sorry for the repeat of that song. Hey, my bad, man. I had to give Aaron some updates and shit. So, Aaron Watson, welcome back from the Aaron Watson Show, out of the Aaron Watson Studios, man. Look at you, man.
Hey, man, thanks. I'm so happy to be back on the show. Maybe I'll catch some more administrative charges for this episode as well. But I guess that just means, that's how I know I'm doing the right thing.
Of course.
Yeah.
Well, welcome back. Hey, guys and gals, for you don't know, Aaron Watson came on, I think it was like last August or something like that, or around the end of the summer time frame, to come on and shoot the shit about his case. And so much to talk about, I figured that I would just let Aaron walk us through what happened the last time he came on and why he came on last time, and then give us a follow-up. So go ahead and shoot, man.
Right on. Well, I got a big page of notes here, so I'll try and condense this. And this is actually really helpful that I'm able to come on in a form like this, because my podcast, I'm on episode 5 now, and they're each a couple hours apiece. So, you know, I've got 20 hours on there already, just bringing people up to speed, and it's just it's endless. But kind of circling back, so last time I was on the show, I was in the middle of a administrative separation from the AGR program. And I knew from the get-go the whole thing was retaliatory in nature and just not in any way lawful. My rights were being violated. And I knew it was a big mess. You know, I knew I was a whistleblower for reporting a sexual assault that, you know, got a sergeant major fired in Indiana. There's a lot of fallout from that. And then I'd also made some other protected disclosures as well. So I was in a position where, you know, I'm doing the right thing and reporting what we're supposed to, and people don't like that. And they were coming after me. So by the time I was on your show, I had a lot of the information I had was kind of suspected, but I didn't have confirmation of it. And now where I am today, it's come full circle, and I have, like, the stuff I'm sharing on my show, like, I have documented, recorded evidence of it. You know, and it's not really a suspicion. It's like telling the facts now that it's over. And I say that's over, but it's still not over, because they're still changing shit by the day. But yeah, the last time I was on your show, I think it was in the end of July, and after that, I did catch an additional charge against me administratively for showing up on that show. And what blows me away about the whole thing I've been involved in is when you ask the National Guard, like, "Hey, what did Aaron Watson do?" They can't even articulate it right, because they've changed the charges like 3 times now. You know, if I was speaking for them, I would say, well, he violated, you know, social media policy by speaking. The only thing I've done is tell the truth. And the only reason it had to get online is because the administrative processes have failed and they are broken. And I want to bring attention back to the article. I don't know if you can pull it up, from Task and Purpose, about the one where you were quoted in: "Soldiers are turning to social media when the chain of command falls short and the Army sees it as a nuisance."
Yep.
That hit home with me. And you were quoted in there and said, respectively, you know, Army and military Reddit forums would not be needed if the official channels worked. And that's the exact reason where, you know, I ended up having to put this in the media and get it public, is because I know what all the official channels are.
Mm-hmm.
And sitting here today, I can tell you which ones are effective, which ones work, and which ones are captured and don't work. But what's been tried and true recently, and in the past age of social media, is that, you know, what's always worked? Once it's aired out on social media. And that's sad that we have to get there.
Mm-hmm.
Because if the official channels worked, the shit wouldn't get aired out, you know, in the media, in the public. But just like you said in that article, they don't work. And we had this saying we used to say when I was working for Indiana, like, why does everything have to be done at gunpoint? Right? Like, if I come to you with a conversation and I'm like, hey, like, let's work this out, like, nobody listens until it's high stakes, gunpoint, everyone's freaked out. Like, then only then people listen and want to hear you and get stuff done. So that's kind of why I'm here, and why I had to start the Watson show. But since our last my last appearance, they did go ahead and fire me and close the investigation for online misconduct.
Mm-hmm.
What they said I did was, at first, the charges were share information in a situation where individuals had an expectation of privacy. Well, that's not true in a public document. So that was a lie. They never interviewed me. They just went off their own narrative. It was a one-sided story. And they just used that. And I didn't realize at the time that was a playbook. And that's common practice. A soldier actually briefed me on it before they completed it with me. And it happened just like he briefed me on it. And I wanted to share that so soldiers can understand when that's happening to them. So commanders will use an administrative investigation, right? And they use it as a tool to to really do whatever they want or get rid of anybody they want. And the way they do that is they will manufacture some allegation, right? Something that warrants an AR-15-6 investigation. And then how they control it is that commander has a JAG advisor, right? Has an attorney. And they will open an investigation, and that commander will appoint an investigating officer. And you know it's wrong, or you know it's going to be shady when they pick like the newest, greenest officer that's like fresh out of walks or OCS, right? Like your lieutenants who's never done an investigation in their life.
Usually a butterbar, or LTA.
Yeah, it's like, hey, sir, you're going to do an investigation.
Yeah, exactly. Congratulations. You have this amount of time to do it, and you got to get a briefing and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. And they're like, I've never done an investigation before. It's like, that's okay. We have an attorney that's going to hold your hand.
Yeah.
And then the attorney does the entire investigation at the commander's discretion, essentially, right? So then it's captured. Whatever's written in the investigation is proved by the attorney that has the commander's intent in mind, right? So it's completely one-sided, especially if they don't interview you at all and the whole investigation is done behind your back.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. That's against your constitutional rights. And then you're set down one day and it's like, hey, we did this investigation into you. You're guilty.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you're like,
what are you talking about?
Yeah,
exactly. Well, in a lot of these investigations too, to get to their conclusions, I'm noticing that now a lot of, how do I say this? A lot of commands that don't want to get too much into the big stuff, get into the big court martial stuff, get into the big legalities. Like you said, admin SEPs, admin investigate, all admin administrative stuff is now seems to be the new trend to just get rid of quote unquote problem children or problem soldiers within their commands.
Well, and here's what else I want to tell you. The reason for that is, if it's in like the National Guards, especially, they are terrified of a court martial because they'll probably fuck it up.
Mm-hmm.
Because a court martial has like appeals, right? They have appeal court levels. So I had strong advisement from some legal advisors amongst the National Guard that actually told me, they said, we've practiced a court martial once upon a time.
Mm-hmm.
We spent $300,000, got everybody on orders and did it. And the result was we could never fucking do this for real. it would go to a court of appeals and be overturned like this. Right. So not only are they like incompetent of really probably doing a real court martial, they run the risk of like, if they did do it, what happens if they took it to a court of appeals and the guy they were trying to go after got off scot-free on some technicality?
Right.
So they ratchet back and they say, well, we have full control. We are inquiry, judge, jury, and executioner on an admin investigation. So if we do that, we can control the whole thing. They don't have an appeal, and we can make happen whatever we want to have happen.
Right.
And that's the end of it. And the only redress for that, essentially, is suing somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if they do it to a point where it's criminal, you need to get law enforcement involved, like FBI, DCIS, or other federal agencies. But if it's just admin law and they're just fucking you over, like, is the average soldier gonna spend a bunch of money and take these people to court and sue a state agency or big organization? No, they're not. They're just
they're just gonna be like, no,
well,
they're gonna avoid it. You know what I mean? They're gonna try to avoid it.
Yeah, they're gonna avoid it at all costs. So back into the timeline, I get refratted, right? And I'm thinking, okay, well, I'm fired from AGR. This is a captured bullshit program, whatever. Like, there's nothing I can do. Like, there's no appeal. And the way they wrote it specifically was so that I wouldn't have an appeal to NGB, because it was either, hey, you hit them with a regulation charge, and if it's just regulation, you can appeal it to NGB. But if you apply a state law to it, like a KCMJ or the state's equivalent of UCMJ, then there is no appeal, because NGB is not going to argue with the state about their own law.
Right.
So then you're at the discretion of the adjunct general and the governor. And if it's a good old boy system, you think the adjunct general is gonna disagree with somebody who appointed?
And that's the same. The bennies and the I guess you say the pros and cons of being of the Guard, anyways, is the fact that if you're in with them, you'll be good to go. But as soon as you disrupt or you go against the grain, then that's where you see the good old boy network just hammer in. Now,
yes,
and the big point, well, the big, I should say, the big flare that launched all this shit. And I'm guys and gals, I don't know if you remember, this is something we posted here. Is this when we talked about the Indiana Army Guard covers up a sexual assault scandal, and it was with the CSM. That was, and that way you guys could see it full transparency. This was what written up, and there was the case as well that was posted, and that's what got Aaron hemmed up. I mean, that's what got a ton of scrutiny, and it seemed like you were being chased, mostly administratively, on a lot of just reporting. All you did was report something, highlight, mandatory report. Like
that's all I did.
And that's all you did.
All I did. Yeah, and they tried to claim, no, we weren't covering up. We had an investigation. Well, I reported it like days after it happened, after the judge signed it, made it public. And the concern was at the time that like, well, fuck, I have no idea what's going on. The Army may not know this is going on, because if the victim just went to the court and got a protective order, like maybe he was too afraid to go to the Army with it, which is a valid concern because Indiana's got a rocky history when it comes to prosecuting sexual assault. And, you know, all it was at the time when I made a report was just a like, hey guys, heads up. Like I had no ill feelings towards Indiana at all. They, you know, they hated to see me transfer down to Kentucky. You know, they absolutely loved me as a recruiter. And I'm sending this up like, hey guys, just a heads up, like this is fucking public now. And I sent it internally, you know, to people in the chain of command and in the organization that worked with this guy. I had no idea who the victim was. I didn't even know his name. But, you know, I found out, you know, it was another recruiter. And, you know, at the time I made that a report, I was just felt like I was doing my job. I was like, fuck, I was obligated to do this.
Right.
You know? And then when they came after me for that months later, because, and it kind of validates the fact that they were trying to cover it up, because all I did was make it known internally to the command in the battalion. So if that was such a problem, well, everyone's going to find out about that anyway. Like it's a public record. So what they were trying to do is make sure nobody knew about it, like nobody, right? So that then they could kind of control what the punishment is without it being in public's eyes. That's if nobody knows about it, then you can kind of take the perpetrator and maybe slap him on the wrist, and maybe that's the difference between you move him into a closet somewhere and he gets to retire. Nobody fucking knows what happened,
right?
Or everybody's like, holy shit, that guy sexually assaulted somebody, and then they're like, I guess we'll fire him.
I guess we'll fire. Oh, but no, they didn't do that to you. They put a fucking bolo out on you. Considered you dangerous, and denied you access to the Army.
It's insane. And, you know, they to this day have no supporting evidence or documentation of why that happened. I know why it happened. A general officer called and had a bolo put out, and then somebody printed that poster because they were literally avoiding me. Like I had the general officer's phone number. I know him. I call him. He doesn't answer. I send him a text message. Hey, sir. I know you're going to be at Camp Atterbury today. Like, let's have a conversation. I want to talk about this. Bolo. Like, okay. I didn't like, fuck that open door policy.
Right, exactly.
Like, imagine trying to come directly to general. Hey, sir, I need to talk to you about an issue. Like, we need to have a discussion. Fuck that guy. Let's put a bolo on him.
Yeah, exactly.
He's fucking dangerous.
Yeah. That did they know? I mean, just because we're doing a real quick catch up. Did they know that you were going to come talk about this? Like
no. So I had tried to talk to them.
Right.
I'd sent an email. No humans responded. I sent one phone call, one text says, hey, sir, ma'am, I really need you to talk to me. This is what I hear I think is going on. Like, let's hash this out in person. This started with you. I want to take it to you and I want to hash it out. Completely ignored. And then, I showed up because I knew that there was a change of command ceremony means someone's getting fired. So I was like, you know what? I know where they're going to be. So I'll show up and talk to him then after, the ceremony. Got my dress screens on. I'm being respectful. I'm like, I'll catch him afterwards. I'll kind of, you can't blow me off if I'm in front of you. And I let them know. I was like, hey, do you have time to talk after this change of command ceremony? And it was like, bam, there's a bolo for you. You're not even allowed to show up. You're fucking dangerous. whoa, holy cow. So yeah, to this day, they have no supporting evidence or documentation of why that bolo was issued, which leads to civil action. I mean, that went out to everybody. Like, the Indian National Guard's 10,000 people, and there's a bolo out, and my face is on armory doors like I'm some fucking enemy of the state.
Yeah, that's when we started getting the traffic, and then that's when that post that your family was posting, and then also the you coming on, and then of course all the drama that we got for posting it. For having you coming on, and then what happened? Okay, so just real quick. So that was real quick. Once over the mountain on that one. So from then to now.
Yeah. So then they escalated it further. They're basically mad that I'm fighting the system, right? They expected me to resign, right? It's like, hey, we did this investigation. You're fired. You're going to resign, right? Fuck no. I didn't do anything wrong. Right. And like, I have all the evidence. No, I'm not resigning. Like, I came down here to retire from this place.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this is my whole livelihood. I've got a decade of my life I've devoted to the National Guard. I'm not quitting halfway through.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I have general officers calling me and mentoring me, right? Like, hey, like, I've been through 3 shitty investigations in my career. This is part of it. The investigation process is broken. Just hang in there, fight it. You'll be fine. And I'm like, okay, like, I got mentors, high ranking officials pumping me up. Like, I'll be good. So I'm like, no, I'm not just rolling over on this. I'm going to fight it. So as soon as I decide to fight it, everything escalates. They're like, okay, bet we're going to throw the book at you with everything we can, right? We're going to manufacture as much shit as we can. Now it's not just, hey, we're coming after you for sharing this public record. Now it's, well, pattern of misconduct because your wife posted a GoFundMe account for your legal fees, and you know you're using your position for monetary gain. Okay. You went on Army What the Fuck moments. You know, they called that Real News Michiana article that Clifton French wrote my article. They're like, you shared your article, and I'm like, I'm the author's at the bottom. Like, who's writing these charges? I didn't do that.
Exactly.
So then they escalated it to, hey, you're not only fired from AGR, we're kicking you all the way out of the National Guard. And then there was a period that was like, hey, if you try and fight this, we're going to come after you with an other than honorable. And by God, they did. And I have the latest charges that they have against me, and I'm literally being charged for talking to my command and defending myself. So there's the original investigation that was a lie. There's the article. There's coming on your podcast, right? And then I sat down with my commander in August. And I had a 3-hour conversation with him, and I discussed my side of the story on everything. I'm like, sir, like, this is what's going on. I'm being railroaded. I didn't do any of this. You know, this is retaliatory. And he was actually really open to the idea, and we actually hashed a lot of things out. It's a 3-hour audio recording I have with my company commander, and we left that like, hey, I'd like to have the same conversation with the battalion commander. Like, this was really productive.
Right.
Well, instead of that, I got a charge that said I attempted to interfere with an adverse administrative action proceeding when I talked to my company commander and said that I'd started pulling levers in Indiana, and I would start pulling levers in Kentucky if they were going to continue to pursue me. Yeah, like IG complaints, congressionals, EO complaints. And I told him that's why, you know, isn't that the first step in EO process? Like, you go directly to the person you think is discriminating against you, and you like hash it out. Well, that's exactly what I did. I'm like, hey, I'm here because I don't want to have to file these complaints. Okay, cool. Let's work it out. Now we're going to charge you for it. And then recently on January 3rd, I went to the JAG attorney, Major Megan Walton in Kentucky, because she had flat out lied on the legal advisement of the investigation.
Well, let's right. Well, let's go back. Let's go back to April. Didn't they wanted to ask you that they just said maybe you should resign?
Yeah.
I mean, August. I'm sorry to go back to August. That time frame. They said, hey. That's when you and I were talking about the TDS decision that they were going to try to say. And they were trying to say, hey, maybe you should just resign, and there's no board for AGR removal at that point, because then it's like they didn't want to see your case come up before the board.
Yeah, there was no board process. It was my only redress was a rebuttal in writing. It was like, hey, you can resign or you can try and fight this, and you have 30 days to put your arguments in writing, and we'll consider it. They didn't even read it. And my trial defense did a phenomenal job. They gave me their best and brightest because they knew what was going on. The dude's rebuttal is like 20 pages. I mean, the dude's a full-time attorney. He's phenomenal. Put hours and hours and hours into it. Like, it's bulletproof. Anyone who reads the rebuttal that I released is like, there's no way they could fire this guy.
Right.
Like, it's not even an argument. It's just factually they were wrong, and they brought it all out, and they just wiped their ass with it. They're like, yeah, we don't care. You're fired. And at the same time, it was like, hey, not only we don't care, you're fired. Now we're going to also fire you completely from the National Guard. And they did that days after I filed an EO complaint. So I file an EO complaint like, hey guys, I also know on the back burner, like, you're really upset that I'm the guy with a religious accommodation for a beard. I'm the only one when I came down here, and you guys didn't know about it until I transferred. And other soldiers have told me, they're like, man, they've been looking for a reason to get rid of you because they fucking can't stand your beard. Right? I'm like, okay. So
but you were
one
of the most top performing fucking recruiters in the state, man.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, because we did some research on some of your past of recruiting time, bro. You were, what do they call it? With a hard hitter or something like that, heavy hitter report or a recruiter or something like that.
Yeah. I was making mission.
Yeah.
I was doing huge events, making the Guard look like superheroes.
Yeah.
Setting up big events with Blackhawks and all this shit. I'm coordinating all this tier 1 huge events.
Yeah.
And they just come after me. So when I file an EO complaint, I file an EO complaint against, I'm like, hey, I know this investigation is bullshit. I got to push this into the EO process. So the people I file an EO complaint against, days later, surround me in a fucking room to tell me that, hey, fuck you, you're fired. And by the way, we're firing you all the way out of the National Guard.
That's like the literal definition of fucking retaliation and reprisal right there, man.
You would think that when you file an EO complaint against anybody, they're like, hey, no contact order, right? We're going to separate the parties, right? We're going to make sure they don't interact because tensions are going to be high, right? Because the dude just filed an official, like, NGB tracked EO complaint. So why would you allow the person he filed that complaint against to then take further personnel actions against him days later?
Right. Yeah, I mean, and didn't you did a chance for diplomacy? I remember that conversation where
multiple times. So I've got a civil attorney, I've got trial defense, phenomenal attorneys. They know what's going on. They know it's bullshit. And I am trying to handle things at the lowest level. So I meet with the adjunct general in Kentucky because at this point, like,
yeah, you met with the tag, A tag, and the CSM, right?
Yeah. And it was just the tag and state CSM in Kentucky. And I was like, guys, listen, this is what's happened. Everyone knows this is fucked. But also, I've had some medical issues that, like, I've had for a while, and I've, every soldier does this, right? Like, you either you're fine on your PHAs or you're not fine, and once you're not fine, like, it's downhill. So, I've had. I don't see a military healthcare professional. It's all in the civilian world. So I've got all these medical records. I know I've got issues. I'm like, listen, God's got other plans. I don't want to be somewhere I'm not wanted, right? Clearly nobody wants me here. I have a good solution. I know I have enough to med board out right now if I disclose everything. So let me disclose everything about all my medical issues, and then I can medically retire. I can talk great about the National Guard, and I know you guys are fucking corrupt, but hey, you do you,
and I'll
I'll do me,
yeah, exactly.
And I'll walk away, right? Because you see what's going on in Indiana, you see what's going on up there, like, people are getting fucking fired, and, like, accountability will roll south eventually, right? So let's just call it a wash. And to my knowledge, like, the adjunct general was game with that, right? That's what I personally believe here today is, like, the adjunct general's like, yeah, like, that's way safer for everybody. Sure.
Right.
But there were individuals that didn't sit well with them. And they're like, we got to derail everything that Watson has going on. I mean, hatred style. Like, oh, he's getting medical treatment. Let's fucking disrupt it on purpose.
Didn't they also try to do some of your Leo background stuff too as well?
Oh, dude. It gets so like, yeah, I'm a reserve police officer in Indiana, right? And they made reports that I was conducting unlawful investigations. And they reported that to my police department. Well, guess what happens when you get a report like that? You get fully fucking investigated. Like, I got like investigated for crimes that would have been felonies and like landed me in jail in Indiana, right? Like, if I had made a false police report, you know, the original 15-6, if I had leaked confidential police reports, you know, if I had conducted an unlawful investigation, I mean, it's official misconduct. That's a felony in Indiana. I would have gone to jail. And the police department did not come at me in a friendly nature. They were ready. They were like, oh, bet. Right. So,
what was it?
I come swinging in.
Let's
right?
say,
and I'm like, whoa.
Well, we got some for you, pal. You know.
Yeah, but hey, you know what's funny though? They did a fair investigation. So at the end of that investigation, they're like, oh, our bad, completely unfounded. This is not a thing. Like, no. Well, that wasn't enough for the people coming after me. They went around that to the town attorney and started making a bunch of FOIA requests and making the same complaints. Well, town attorney saw it for it was and like denied everything. Was like, no, like this is like, don't come up here and try and school us on Indiana law. Like,
right, exactly.
Stay south.
Yeah,
that wasn't enough. They go around that and they make the same complaints to the Indiana State Police and the Monroe County Prosecutor's Office. And my department gets jammed up because they're trying to conduct investigations and, you know, submit search warrants and do normal things the department does between a prosecutor's office. And they had to hit the brakes on everything because they had to have the Indiana State Police investigate my police department. And it happened. And it was unfounded.
Jesus.
So
this is like
yeah, like at what point are you done?
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
So like, so at the end of this, my police department officials came in and they're like, hey, they're the one who described this to me. They're like, there's an individual that's coming after you that has drowning man syndrome, and he is grabbing everything he can to keep his head above water, and he's getting really desperate. And the Indiana State Police saw for what it was. They're like, oh, okay. They know there's a lawsuit coming, so they're trying to defame you as much as they can and get ahead of it to see if they can find a chink in the armor to get you buried.
Right.
So that they've made the first move.
Right.
Well, they tried that and it didn't work. They failed. Yeah. So when I say I've had the full weight of the National Guard come after me, I have. Like, what are you going to do? Try and come after me for other than honorable discharge? Yeah, that's what they're doing.
Yeah, they were. Yeah, at this point, they're trying to put you away in fucking jail. That's
Yeah.
like I mean, hey man, and this is just me. Take food for me. Take food for my family, and that's a point. And then you're trying to send me to jail. Oh no, it's on. I mean, at that point,
like what do I have to lose?
Yeah, exactly. At that point, it's all legal aspects, you know, all that stuff. And so when the police department came back and they said, hey, nothing's founded, how did the guard take it once they found out, once it came back unsubstantiated?
Well, that was very recently.
Yes. Go for
so,
it.
I would imagine
now we're
that
catching
there's
up.
a lot of
there's
a lot of panic.
Yeah.
There's a lot of panic going on right now because they thought they had this in the bag. And they don't, because eventually the truth comes out, which I'm a firm believer in. And when it does, like, you know, and that's like, imagine I've had the microscope. I've been put under the microscope time and time again. And if I had something wrong, right, why would I be beaten up to be put under the microscope again?
Right. And you're not, and they make it sound like you're not taking fucking notes and remembering what's happening either. And somebody just asking I appreciate you guys asking questions in the chat. Isn't falsifying claims against you illegal, especially when it uses taxpayer resources?
It most certainly is. And that's where, like, somebody made a comment to me at one point, like, man, this isn't a big deal. It's all administrative law. It's not like anybody's going to jail over it. Yeah, that's the problem now. It's not just like, hey, we're kicking out a soldier for being insubordinate. And like at the end of the day, like no one's going to go to jail, right? The problem is the original charges against me that you lied about were like felonies. And then if you keep pressing the issue and then you start lying about it, now you're committing criminal acts. So like they've forced themselves, we're all on the hill that somebody's going to die on now. Like we're too far.
Yep.
So like it's too far gone. And it's just accountability time. It is what it is. I mean, they have ruined so many aspects of my life. It's not even funny.
Not to mention the fact that that now has this also affected your law enforcement career? Should you have wanted to take it?
How could I ever go back? Because now the issue is people will look at it as, oh, well, he did it, because it's all about the allegation, right? They're like, oh, he did it. He just got away with it. Right. So I have that going against me. Right. Even though, I've got all the details and I can talk my way through it. But, when you carry the weight of that allegation behind you, like people are always going to wonder. They're like, well, he just got off on a technicality or something. I bet he did it. Now I have to deal with that for the rest of my life. My mental health from having everything I know and trust turn on me, like I'll never be the same. And it sucks. I have to live with that now. And it's a struggle every day.
Well, they also on the back end, they published your DD-214 fucked up too.
Oh my God. So, and that's where
we did some research too, man. Cause I was like, wait a minute. Cause go ahead. I'll let you explain that portion of the DD-214.
Yeah. So, and one of the issues right before that is they're not advertising or telling their soldiers to get a shape physical, an SHPE, which I'll admit my ignorance. Like I was a expert at putting people in the National Guard. I didn't know shit about getting out of the Army at all before this. Well, if you've gotten out of the Army, you know that like hell or high water, you're doing an exit exam. Like it's absolutely mandatory that you will get an exit physical. Well, they knew I had health problems and were disrupting my med board process. So they just kind of kept that a secret from me. They actually discouraged me from even going to get a PHA. Well, once I found out about it and asked to get it scheduled, they refused to even schedule it for me. They wouldn't let me schedule it and go get it on purpose. So then I get a DD-214 without getting a physical or doing any of the DOD requirements to exit active duty if you've been on active duty over 180 days. And I've got 6.5 years active at the time, right? I got to do everything that a normal active duty soldier does to get out. Didn't do any of it. And they issued DD-214 and it's honorable. And because of the way they separated me off of Title 32, like I'm entitled to separation pay. And it was like $30,000. Well, I'm kicked in the nuts. They've turned my pay off. I can't work. I'm working with a financial advisor who calls that office. It's like, hey, by the way, we know that Watson's entitled to this. When's he going to get paid his separation pay? And they're like, oh, and they started scrambling. And the next day they issued a new DD-214 with a separation code that they can't even use that barred me from getting any of the separation pay or 180 days of TRICARE Prime for a transitional assistance management program, and just fraudulently did a DD-214 that I have now. And that jammed me up from everything.
Yeah. And just to get the audience knows is that when there is a specific DD-214 code that's posted on the bottom, it gives a general for like benefits and stuff like that. And they gave you an under honorable general JKM misconduct, so you wouldn't get 30K. Or access to
after they gave me the right one. Like I have the right one in hand. I'm like, that's honorable. I'm good to go. Where's my money?
Yeah.
Like,
and so like they gave you a DD-214 that had the MBK code, completion of service. And then when you ask for this information or they wonder why your money's not coming in, then all of a sudden they go, here's the real DD-214. And I'm like, what the fuck? Member of the audience says, shouldn't they have just given you a 215?
Oh, that's the best part. Exactly. I'm so glad your audience is educated. You are correct.
Exactly.
That is how they would do it, is do a DD 215. The HRO office in Kentucky at the time did not have anyone with the ability or access to produce a DD 215.
Dude, man, this fucking corruption's unfucking real. Okay, so now I think that was like that was like the November December timeframe we discussed. That we're now catching the audience up on. This is guys, this is just catching you up right now on all the other stuff that me and Aaron and also some other research we've been going through. So now tort claim is officially open in Indiana, correct?
Yep, that's open. That's making its way into court this week. They had a period of time where there was some back and forth with the AG's office, so they're moving it into court now. I am probably gonna, unless the adjunct general sees this podcast and wants to, call me in and sit down tomorrow and hash this out. If I continue to be ignored, I'm just gonna have to sue him here in Kentucky. I mean, it's what other option do I have?
Right.
You shouldn't just ignore somebody. It's grossly negligent to ignore some of the communication that I have sent to this command office. It's baffling when you listen to my podcast and you listen to the emails that I've sent and the fact that no human replied to it whatsoever. You got a soldier screaming for help, asking to do this internally and I have these problems, let's fix it. And you're getting completely ignored and isolated, abandoned by the National Guard. It's insane. And then, right before I kind of had to go public with this too, what pushed me over the edge is when I was doing my research. And then I found out that I am not the only victim. And that this is not only common practice, but there's a lot of victims. And then once the word got out, people started bringing me their accounts. And these are people that are scared to death of reprisal. People that have 15, 20 years in, I've been down here for a year now. I was in it for 6 months, really. But people that have dealt with this their entire career, and all they think is I can't say anything, I'll be fired, just like Watson was.
Yeah.
But they have enough courage because they're non-commissioned officers and it's their duty. They recognize what's going on and they recognize the opportunity. They are coming to me with the evidence and with the accounts and with all the testimony because they know I have outside agencies involved that can now hold people accountable. I've gone outside the captured administrative process that just circles back around into the dumpster. And now I've got the attention of the agencies that can actually come in and hold people accountable.
Right.
And people see that opportunity. So they're like, holy shit, Watson, dude, this is what happened to me.
Yeah.
This is what happened to so-and-so.
Oh, and
this is what I've seen for the last 5 years.
Yeah. Not only that, but we've got 9 people I know. I mean, me and you went through this. We counted nine individuals in this.
That's up to 14 now.
Yeah, I was about to say. I was going to ask you how. So it's gotten up to 14. Fuck, dude. Oh.
Yeah, and when you zoom out, you can see my issue from afar and not know anything. Be like, oh, that's some disgruntled fucking employee that's just trying to burn shit down. And then you have 14 people come behind me and they're like, no, hey, Watson's not only right, but my issue's way fucking worse.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm just looking through I'm rehashing the names, or not the names, but the individuals that we discussed from last time. 14 now. But originally it was 9. So 14 individuals have I'm not saying your case isn't bad, but a far worse scenario, a far worse situation.
Yeah, equal or worse. And most of them, and it revolves around people's rights being violated and the administrative process not being done correctly one way or the other. Whether it's it's poorly operated, or it's not done in accordance with the regulation, or it's not done in accordance with the state law or the federal regulation.
Yeah, that's a good point because different titles, there's different titles that get involved in this, correct?
Yes. So it's a very difficult process to navigate because Title 32 AGR soldiers are in their own little box, and sometimes some things apply. Right. So it's difficult for even an attorney to look at it, but it's possible. And once you get all the facts straight, you realize that, like, holy shit, there's some huge problems here. Problems to the tune of like the way they fucked me over on my DD-214. Let's just imagine that maybe they've done that to other people.
Yep. And the individuals not known it. Like,
Have
individuals
no idea.
have no idea that had happened, because I mean, in fact, I'm just gonna go to a smaller paragraph here. A retired enlisted technician, Title 32 MD with expansive knowledge and sharp at EO military law. A service member filed own case, which the findings of the investigation were founded, but the command took no action against the perpetrator and was retaliated against.
That's the insane part that I've learned. You know, I can't, you know, before all this, I'm like, man, the process works, right? Like, I'm a cop, I write charges, I put people in jail. You know, yeah, the system can be broken. You know, there's judges going after people or something, but like overall, the process is good.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then I find out, and I got this guidance straight from NGB. They're like, hey, you know, at the end of the day, like, NGB, like in the DOD, can do any investigation they want to, and they can tell the state anything, any finding and recommendation. And at the end of the day, the adjutant general and the governor can be like, we don't fucking care. They have no command, authority, and direction over the states whatsoever. And you saw in that situation, and there's some more recorded situations where an outside agency has come in, one that doesn't have enforcement power, so not a law enforcement agency, right? Because if it was law enforcement agency, they'd fucking charge people. But, you know, like if NGB comes down and says, hey, state of Kentucky or Indiana, or whatever state it is, like, you did in fact fuck this guy over, you did in fact violate the regulations. Here's our findings and recommendations. Like, rehire the guy, promote him, give him his back pay, and fix it. And the state can say, yeah, we're not doing that. We don't care. And that's happened. There's recorded incidents of that happening.
Of the nine that from the last time we spoke, or the last time we had a review, most of it was sexual assault / domestic violence and physical assault. Has any of those moved forward at all?
No, not to my knowledge at all. No. And that's where I'm kind of here. The other soldiers involved are like, man, Watson's kind of paid a tribute to this whole thing. He just jumped on the grenade. Like, they're going after him with an other than honorable.
Bro, you have, man. No, I mean, if this right here, had it not been for you, most individuals would just say, fuck this, fuck that, be bitter about it. But you've taken a good fight to this. So at this point, I think we're caught up to January now. I think we're okay. So let's go ahead and let's rock with your notes, man.
So January, I take this to the JAG officer that basically lied in the original 15-6, and I'm like, hey, listen, like, I'm to the point where, like, I'm gonna have to file like a bar association complaint, because, like, this shit's unethical, but I'd rather solve it here with you at this level. And she's super receptive, reads through the whole thing. We hash out back and forth and argue a little bit. And she agrees that, like, hey, she's taking some notes. Like, let's circle back to this. She's going to do a little research, talk to some people, and, like, we'll have another meeting. I'm like, fuck yeah, dude. Like, we're solving shit at the lowest level.
There we go.
Hell yeah. I felt so good leaving there. I'm like, this is great. You know, like, this is how it should work. I should be able to take, if I have a problem with you, I can come to you directly. We can hash it out and solve it.
Exactly.
Then they turn around and they say, hey, on January 3rd, you attempted to influence Major Megan Walton to amend or withdraw her legal review of recruiting's 15-6 that formed the basis for your refred by threatening her with a complaint against her bar license. This constitutes a violation of UCMJ Article 127, extortion. First of all, they contradicted themselves in the statement, because the definition of threat under UCMJ is threatening to take an unlawful action, right? Like, I'm gonna beat the shit out of you if you don't do something, right? A complaint, filing a complaint officially, is not unlawful.
No.
So you can't, it's not extortion if I threaten to do a lawful action.
Right.
So that's what blows me away. Is like they contradict themselves in their own sentence. But they use that to say, "Hey, now it's a serious offense. You've committed extortion."
And they're trying to do a charge on you for something that you're completely authorized, or you're completely you have the right to do. If you want to complain about somebody's fucking, bar license, anybody can do it.
Yeah, I'm a police officer. You want to file official complaint? Like, there's a complaint process. Like, you can do it. It
Right.
happens all the time.
Right.
That's not extortion
Right.
against me.
Right.
So, and that's what kind of validates it. Like, okay, somebody's got drowning man syndrome, because this is insane. This is insane. The TDS office laughed. They're like, we have never seen a charge like this of extortion for having a cordial conversation with an attorney.
Right.
Huh. So again, thank God I recorded that entire conversation, and maybe they didn't know that when they made this charge, because they, to fit that narrative, I'm dangerous. So I now have this VIP escort when I go to not National Guard facilities of 2 armed guards, and they kind of laugh about it because they see me at the gate and they're like, let's go. And I'm like, man, I'm sorry you guys have to follow me around, a sworn police officer that is somehow dangerous and needs 2 armed guards. It's for my protection, right? And they kind of laugh. They're like, man, at least we're not out in the cold, And, but I had that, like, my Alex Jones hat goes on. In sidebar, I'm an Alex Jones fan. Rest in peace to his staff.
Yeah.
It really sucks.
Yeah, Jimmy White. Yep.
Yeah, but I'm like, man, what if they use those armed guards to try and like have them as witnesses to say that I did threaten her? Right?
Ooh, yeah.
What if they're in on it? They could be. Well, it doesn't matter. I have the whole thing on tape.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's the latest charge. Like, that's where we're at now. I'm facing an extortion charge, and looking at an other than honorable separation administratively. And what's crazy about that is, if we circle back to a year ago now, I reported a sexual assault completely lawfully, no issues. And that person who did in fact commit that sexual assault got an administrative separation with an other than honorable characterization of service. And now they're coming at me with the same thing. How ironic.
Yeah.
So what message does that send?
Right. It is that all you did was, well, someone just asked, hey, whatever happened to the guy that you initially reported? So the same article, and I just dropped it in the chats already as well. National Guard leader discharged, demoted following rape allegations and statewide cover-up. So this is admitted.
Yeah.
This is admitted already. So the fact that you are still being chased about it, or still being just hounded about it. Look, if you fucking fired the guy, and there is a statewide cover-up already up, yep, we fucked up, the guy's gone, whatever, then everything should have been brought up on you, to include all the back and forth on your DD-214 charges, and all the drama should be fucking dropped, and that's it. Be on your way.
Yeah, and now it's to the point where it has nothing to do now with what happened in Indiana. It is only the fact that I didn't lay down and roll over down here, and it's just a big ego contest down here.
Yeah.
Because by God, if they have one soldier that stands up and bucks the system, well, fuck, everybody might do that.
Tell me about it. Tell me about it. You better take this down. This better be watch out.
But and here's why the stakes are so high now. What happens if I win now?
Not only what happens if you win, but at this point, I would, and everyone's talking about they should Doge this. They should send Doge in. See, this is the thing where I think Doge, the Doge is a thermonuclear weapon when it comes to stuff like this, and maybe they should Doge the process in itself. But somebody said that this is like the rape victim being persecuted against the assaulter and being told that they're the problem, because they're saying that they're gaslighting you as well.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Like, and I did, people say Doge, I would love for that to happen, but I learned a lot about processes and who to call and who to report this stuff to. And I kind of want to go over that a little bit.
Send it. Yeah, go for it, man.
So if you're a soldier right now, right, and you have any issue at all, right, I have a page of notes on like what you should do. It's very conventional and unconventional. So everyone knows the first answer. You go to your chain of command, right? You always go to your chain of command first. Sometimes that works. Well, sometimes it doesn't. So then you have internal processes and you have external processes. So if you're a soldier right now and you want to do internal processes, anyone at any time can pick up the phone and call Trial Defense Services hotline and speak to at least someone who can talk about your situation. If you are at the level of a negative counseling or above, you need to call Trial Defense Services. You need to call TDS. There are people on full-time orders that are there to be your legal advice. This is not the same as the JAG office, because the JAG office is put in place to protect the commanders. Trial Defense Services, TDS, is put in place to protect the soldier. So you need to call TDS. Also internally, I had no idea I was an E6 in the National Guard, and I had never been through the EO process, equal opportunity. Now, sidebar, equal opportunity is like all at home right now on admin leave most places, and they're all in the penalty box because Trump's pulling out DEI. So for those of you who are worried about the future of that, the guidance I have is, once DEI came along, they put EO under that DEI umbrella. Well, now that Trump's removed it, they have to go in and just pull out the DEI, and then EO will be as it's always been.
Yeah, we've always said that it was EO with extra steps. That's all.
Right.
So
use the EO process, because the end of the road on the EO process is like all the way up to like the Department of the Army or Secretary of the Army. Right? Like the appeals go all the way up on EO. It doesn't just stop at a state level. And then you have the Inspector General. Now, that's a little wishy-washy right now because there's a lot of Inspector Generals that just got fired, and some can be captured at a state level. So you can go to the Inspector General, but you can't expect like, oh, it's totally going to fix all my problems. Maybe not, because the IGs, their only job is to they're just going to tell you what was right and what was wrong. They have no enforcement power. So they can say, hey, yeah, Commander, you're totally wrong. And the commander's like, well, I don't care. Right. So the IG can give you some ammo, and it can kind of open the door a little bit. But don't just put all your eggs in that one basket. Then you kind of have above that level, you have like IGs have levels above them. NGB has its own IG. The Department of the Army has an IG. DOD has an IG. But if you just go straight to the top and go to the DOD, IGs roll things downhill to the lowest office that can possibly handle it. Right. So if you're calling the DOD IG on an E7, they're not going to do anything. They're going to send it back to your state's IG. But if you're calling the DOD IG on your adjunct general, okay, they can't roll that back down to the state because there's a conflict of interest. So use the IG process. And then you have external processes. And this is where people, they may or may not know these exist either. I would recommend every soldier right now who is trying to make a career out of the military, no matter what branch you're in, to have a civil attorney on retainer that is experienced in military cases, period. It is an insurance policy. If you have a savings account, if you got money in a TSP, right? Like having a civil attorney on retainer is of that same nature. It is for the rainy day. You don't know you need a civil attorney until a day after you need a civil attorney. And then good luck trying to find one. So have a civil attorney that is experienced in that. Next is the congressional process. You need to identify where you live and who you are as a constituent to what member of Congress. And you need to establish communication with that member of Congress where you live, and know and kind of have like prepped like what the congressional inquiry process is. So if you're in the military and you have a complaint, you can file what's called a congressional inquiry. So you can go to your congressman of the district you live, and the congressman can conduct an inquiry investigation of like what the fuck is going on.
Right.
Now they can't fix things. Sometimes they can, but sometimes that the congressman knows about it is enough to fix it. Sometimes, right? Like when your chain of command is getting a notice from Congress and they're like, "Hey, what the fuck's going on with this soldier?" They're like, "Whoa, fuck! Now we're instant to the congressman." Sometimes that fixes a lot of things. So make contact with your congressman. At the state level, you have attorney generals. Okay, the AG's office. they are going to be an agency that can have oversight over state agencies, which at the end of the day, that's what most National Guards are. They're, they can be in a dual status, like we talked about earlier. You can be in a Title 10 where you're federalized, or you can be Title 32 where you're literally just a state employee. But the AG's office is another good resource. And then the rest of these, you're only going to really call if you think there's criminal issues or criminal activity afoot, right? And that's what a lot of people don't understand is in some of these processes where these soldiers' rights have gotten violated, sometimes there's a statute that kind of like fits what's going on and it makes something unlawful. Whether it's lying, whether it's deprivation of rights under the color of law, these things that could happen to you in the course of a retaliatory investigation could also be criminal in nature and like maybe official misconduct. Because some people forget, like, we're fucking public servants at the end of the day is what we are on taxpayer money. So you can engage with your law enforcement officers at the local, state, and federal level. The FBI is a big one, right? And then there's a department that I didn't know existed called DCIS. They're the law enforcement extension of the DOD-IG office. I had no idea they existed.
I was about to say I've never now. So what would the FBI step into this in this situation?
So the FBI is going to be able to charge against federal crimes, and since the National Guard is in a dual capacity, right? You maybe should be on Title 10,
right?
If you are, like, for example, if someone lies in an administrative process knowingly and intentionally, right? If someone tampers with a witness in an administrative process, well, that administrative process falls under the jurisdiction of the U.S. government, like an EO process, for example. That is a process that is under the umbrella of the U.S. government.
Right.
Let's say someone tampers with a witness or threatens that witness, that, hey, don't you dare testify in this EO case, you're fucking fired.
Right.
Well, that's witness tampering. That's a federal crime under 18 U.S. code, like 1512, I think it is. That's what the FBI does. Like this white collar crime shit, right? That's call the FBI. Because if it's happening enough and it's they got a lot of charges, like it's happening in a big way, the FBI will help investigate that, and they can charge those individuals, especially at the state level with people in a state agency, because like I can't just call CID, right? I don't have that, because these are state employees. So it's always good to bounce ideas off of these federal agencies and say, hey, here's what's going on. You can always have an inquiry, right? And it kind of rolls downhill. If you have a civil attorney that's already on retainer, he can kind of know, and like he knows what the law is. You can go to your civil attorney and be like, hey, civil attorney, this shit is going on with me. And he may tell you like, well, they can't do that. That's unlawful. Or, hey, they can't do that. We can sue them civilly for that. And oh, by the way, that's actually criminal. And they can be that mediator and help articulate things to federal investigators, right? Because when you sit down with a federal investigator, if you're not a law enforcement agency, they're just like, hey, like, give me the meat and potatoes. Who broke what law at what time? Do you have evidence? Well, the average soldier may not be able to articulate that very well because they may not even know what laws are broken.
Right. Or yeah, exactly.
But if you've talked to TDS, if you've got a civil attorney who deals with this stuff, and then you go you use them as a liaison to talk to some of these like law enforcement agencies, they can help you articulate some of that. And that may save your ass really, really early instead of getting all the way down the rabbit hole like I am and then having to get everybody on board at the end, which is possible. It's a pain in the ass is what it is. And this is kind of the playbook I've started from like, okay, if I could go back and fix this from day one, what would I have done differently? And what things would I have in my corner already that would have prevented this whole thing? And if I can share that with enough soldiers and enough soldiers put this in their toolbox, it's not only going to help those soldiers fight this or prevent it from happening. The fucking people that are doing this to these soldiers are going to take notice. they're gonna like imagine the fear there of like, oh shit, like, do we really want to railroad this soldier? What if he's seen the Watson show and has like
Yeah.
the defense playbook?
Bro,
you know,
I was about to say you need to get that in a fucking book, like a smart book.
That's exactly what I'm gonna do.
Yeah, I
I'm
was
gonna
about to say-
graphic it. I'm gonna share it and blow it out and be like, hey, and here's what you need.
Put that in a smart book and then have it sold in the PX.
Exactly. Hey, there you go.
Because you're the
Now-
PX.
Now we got a business idea.
Yeah,
Let's do
exactly.
it.
See,
Yeah.
now, because now you got a PX, you got the PX. They sell the officers' leaders guide, the NCO guide, how to do battle staff, how to do planning, blah blah blah. And then you can have a legal corner. There's a JAG officers, a commander's, guide to being a commander with legal aspects, blah 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 blah. But there's nothing for the soldier. You're on a fucking, you got something, man.
Yeah, and I think as it spreads, it's going to put some of these people kind of back on their heels, and this has kind of been my philosophy from the get go. Evil and corrupt shit can only happen behind closed doors most of the time, because if it's in the public's view, you're going to get eaten alive.
Right, exactly.
And that's why a lot of this shit is siloed and don't talk to anybody, no contact orders. Let's keep it under wraps so that they can do whatever the fuck they want to. But once it's out and the doors are open and all the taxpayers see what the fuck they're paying you to do, like we may have problems.
Mm-hmm.
And the court of public opinion is real. Because,
God,
the higher you get, all of these positions lead back to some type of political motivation.
Right.
So, and then I have a list of like red flags, right? Now, hold on. Let me back up first. Under external, I have your last resort is going to the media, right? And I know I'm here now, but you can look back at my process and like, this is the last thing I did. Like I figured out and called all these people before I started having to go public with this, because at the end of the day, I don't want to be a hypocrite, right? If I was the commander, somebody had a problem with me and they just blasted it on Facebook, and I'd say, hey, like, why the fuck didn't you just come talk to me about this? But then when you ignore me and like deny my open door policy, like now it's free game, right?
Right. What do you expect? What do you expect
Yeah.
to do?
Why is he on a podcast right now? Oh, you're literally ignoring him. So here we are. But the media, you've got local media, niche media like us, and then national medias you can engage with. So that kind of wraps up the external stuff. And then some red flags you need to look out for. And this is just what I've come across. These retaliatory investigations that are a thing, they're a thing, and there's laws against them, and there's definitions for them, and you need to educate yourself on the laws to see exactly what these people could be doing to you. But if you can identify what some of these red flags are, then you'll kind of know up front. If you read through the laws regarding the Military Whistleblower Protection Act, which protects almost everybody, right? And then most states have a Whistleblower Protection Act. It identifies and defines what some of the acts of reprisal or retaliation, kind of same thing. It identifies what those are. Things I didn't even think of, like a retaliatory mental evaluation, right? You piss off your command and they're like, he's crazy. Let's send him to a mental eval, right? Like that's a form of retaliation. Retaliatory investigations, obviously. I've dealt with that. Things that like disparate treatment that kind of falls under EO, like just treating you differently than everybody else. Over redacting is one that I found out. So if you're in an investigation and you get handed documents and literally every name is redacted, like when something's redacted, you redact like the PII information.
Right.
But if the names of everyone who wrote every piece of information, you can't even identify whose commander is who and what attorney wrote, you just have no idea. There's like, why would you do that? Why would you redact literally everyone? That's kind of a red flag. Like, who's hiding from this?
That's like an Epstein type of shit. You know what I mean? That's
exactly
Epstein.
right.
Epstein
like
shit.
Yeah. If you get a police report that I wrote as a police officer, my fucking name is not redacted.
Right.
I don't want anybody to know I wrote this police report.
Exactly.
I'm the public servant. Like, what are you talking about? hiding investigations from you. It was amazing to find out down here that was like common knowledge and like common practice. Because like it's blowing me away. I'm calling mentors from Indiana, law enforcement people. I'm like, hey, you ever know of an investigation where you're not allowed to know what the investigation's about? And people are like falling out of their chair. They're like, what do you mean?
Yeah,
That's against your rights.
Exactly.
It's in the council. It's in the regulation. How's that happening?
Yeah, exactly. You're supposed to be counseled on what you're fucking being investigated for, or
Yeah,
what the
yeah.
investigation is about.
Yeah, so if that's happening to you, like you're already behind the curveball. You better call TDS right away. And then these, this is a hypocritical thing of me, because I would always tell my soldiers that come in like, hey, don't rely on your chain of command or someone above you to get all your shit squared away. You make sure all your shit's squared away. Well, when I was exiting the Army and I didn't know what a fucking shape physical was, right? And I didn't know what the exit process was until it was kind of too late. Like, are there people that were negligent and that should have been coaching me through all that? Yeah, absolutely. But at the end of the day, like, I do blame myself. Like, I should have known what their jobs should have been. And you got to research. You've got Chat GPT now. Like, there's no excuse.
Right.
You can ask AI anything. Be like, what do I need to do when I exit out of the Army?
Yeah, exactly.
What are the requirements? And it's like, here you go.
Yeah, it's more involved than an actual counselor sometimes.
Yeah, counselor. And for legal issues, right? Give your AI your counseling and be like, is this lawful?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, AI can be your best attorney.
Yeah. Oh, sometimes, until it gets, you need to kill them type of thing at the bottom. It turns into Skynet or something like that.
Yeah, it goes real sideways.
It gets dark pretty quick when you do it. I know about the third iteration when I use AI, it gets really dark, and all that stuff, because I just kind of play with it a little bit. I'm sorry, go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I love using AI. And then the other point I want to kind of hit on is a lot of people are watching this, and some people are in the military and they're like, yeah, that's typical. But then you've got some taxpayers and some constituents watching this, and they're like, how the fuck is this even happening?
Right.
Like, there's no way. It's some of the shit I see coming out on Doge. I'm like, how is that even possible? Well, I didn't want to come. I don't like coming to you with problems without solutions. So, but to find a solution, like, you need to understand why this is happening. And the reason this is happening where I'm at right now is because there has been no check and balance. And essentially all lines revert back to this JAG office down here. All the commanders are advised by these same JAGs. Every investigation that happens is advised and reviewed by these same JAG officers. Congressional inquiries lead back to the JAG office. IG complaints that need legal advice go to these same 3 JAG attorneys. You go make an EO complaint and they need legal advisement. Well, by God, it's the same 3 JAG attorneys.
Right, exactly.
So you have like 3 to 5 people controlling everything. So that's a problem. Now, imagine if those 3 people are like malicious.
Which, in your case, all of them seem to have been malicious.
Yeah, and it's not. It's not just my case. Now I'm getting other cases turned into me. Like, hey, Watson, take a look at my administrative separation. I'm like, oh my God. One of the red flags is like the same attorney that reviewed it, advised it, reviewed it. So it's like, good job, me. I did a great job.
Exactly.
And like, when you have 30 attorneys to pick from, like, wouldn't you like, hey, I advise this whole investigation. Can you do me a favor and look over this for like 2 hours? Now, the regulation states if it's a dire circumstance that you can review your own product, but would you want to? That's very frowned upon. But then when I look at all these shitty investigations and like, that's how every one of them is done.
Yeah.
I'm like, ooh, that's a problem. That's a problem. So, it's all about common denominators. You see one problem and it may not stand out, but when you put 14 problems side by side and you say, what's the same across every single one of these? And now you have your answer.
Mm-hmm.
So the problem is,
and actually, you have answers. You have more than you don't have an answer. You have answers.
You have a lot of answers.
You have answers of the command, the JAG, the state's government office, the governor. Dude, this is.
Yeah, it's deep, and once that's why transparency is so important. That's why that's why if it's fucking public record, the public needs to see it. That's the point of the whole thing, right? It's like, well, why do you want to release this publicly? Fucking why not? It's public record. The taxpayers own this. They don't. Nobody. The JAG office doesn't fucking own my investigation. It's not mine.
Yeah.
The taxpayer owns it.
Yeah, exactly.
Your mom owns it.
Yeah.
Okay, she's paying taxes.
Yep.
She's entitled to it.
Yep.
Give her the damn records.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? The same thing Doge is doing. So, and then when you throw all this shit up and look at it, you can see what the problem is, and you understand that, like, hey, when's the last time one of these people has been put in check?
Right.
Who do you even fucking call?
Right. Oh yeah. I was about to say, you know, who checks on the overseers type of thing. You know what I mean? Who checks on those in the authorities?
Yeah, I can tell you who checks on, like, me and my police department, fucking Indiana State Police.
Yeah, well,
we got fucking investigated, and that's who you call.
And
right?
I'm surprised, and I'm not surprised that they're still trying to they're still trying to poke after all the stuff that you've been through. I am not surprised that there's still a lot of them poking to see what they can do, what angle they can get on this.
Yeah, it's they don't know when to quit, and I'm about to say something right here, and it's not an allegation. I'm just going to state some facts here, and you'll see where my concern is. You know as well as I do that soldier suicide is a problem, right? And I can tell you through my experience, I had to have my own battle with that. And I've had friends, you too, we've been to their funerals that have struggled with this. And I can only wonder, and I'm concerned that, man, if something like this that I've been through drove me all the way to the edge, to where the only reason I'm here is by the grace of God and the safety provided by someone else. Are there soldiers that have been through this same process, and because of it, we had to go to their funeral?
Yeah, that is an outstanding point, because there are some that, again, and this is not to, I know this is a delicate topic to discuss to some. It's not a matter of weakness. It's not a matter of where you at in your mental state, I think is a better way to say it. But where someone is at in their mental state, and this has happened, how many of these because like I said, the last time we talked was 9, now it's 14. How many of these 14 that we know are in a place that could happen because they're frustrated? They're not getting any responses from anybody. They're not getting anything that has to do with at least some sort of, hey, we'll work you through this. Let's get you some good resources here. Hey, how are you doing? None of that's happening. None of
it's happening.
From what we've gone back and forth, you and I, with all of our notes, nothing there. I've not seen any of it. And so, and it's not.
I had a soldier report to me that sometime last year he was having a really bad drinking problem, and he called his first sergeant to disclose it and self-report, and says, hey man, called him crying. He's like, I got a problem. I need help. And he got told, like, well, you're really stressed out. You could probably just get rid of some of that stress if you got a couple more enlistments.
Dude. And that's not the time. That's not the time to talk about being a heavy hitter. You know what I mean? At that point, everything gets wiped off the fucking table. Okay, hey man, you're going to self-refer. Let's get you through some programs. Let's see what we can do from you. And then, and of course, all of us, we have our veterans, our military sense of humor. Come on, man, we'll get you through this, and we'll trip up with you if you need be, but don't fucking give up. You know what I mean? And it's fucking frustrating, because I'm looking at all those, at least the 9 that I know already, and I've seen through some of their case. I'm like, holy shit. I'm the fact that, like you were saying, none of these have decided to go into a dark place and in their lives. Those are the names. These are the soldiers that we need to be fucking highlighting the most, not sitting there crying about, well, maybe he didn't do this, or maybe it's like you said, maybe it's fucking you. Maybe the common denominator is the toxic leadership, the bad processes that you're not allowing to happen. Dude, what? You're on your, like, how many DD-214s are you going to get by the time you're
I
done?
can't even file a VA claim because I have 2 fraudulent DD-214s.
Right.
I can't get a third one, and I need one.
Yeah.
So
how could you, like, again, at wherever you're at and at your behavioral health, wherever you're at in your mind, wherever you're set at, you could at any time someone can say, "What the fuck, dude? How many DD-4? I can't even get help." I mean, I'll be honest with you, and I'm not throwing some tinfoil out. I think they want you to fucking do it. I think they want you to fucking do it.
That's what people have told me, and it's a disgusting thing to think, but, like, man, that fucking solves a lot of problems for everybody, doesn't it?
Right.
We'll just drive the soldier off the edge.
Yeah, drive the soldier to the edge, make him end his life, and then that's it. Sorry, we're done. And everybody that we have spoken to, specifically on your case, has said how, and I will say this, you do have some awesome supporters that have hit us up and said, your resilience in this, brother, I mean, it's fucking, I'm gonna tell you what, it's top, because this right here, and again, my tinfoil went off. I know exactly what they're trying to do. They're trying to drive this guy fucking mad to whether he's in jail, either he's in a grave, or he's fucking committed somewhere. And that's all I see.
And that's the problem is, you can backwards, you can backpedal from suicide and say, how many of these guys have drinking problems? How many of these guys are, getting, just mental health problems in general, or they're fucking losing it or going sideways, or they're in jail. Well, why? I'd be fucking drinking myself to death too if the whole weight of the National Guard was coming after me in a malicious way.
Right.
So if that's happening, and we know this happening. Like, this is a fact. This is happening. This is undisputed. What is the effect of us doing this to soldiers?
Yeah.
That question needs answered.
Right.
And the problem is there's some recent cases that really need investigated because that question needs answered. And I would hate to find out that we drove a soldier all the way to the edge and he's not here anymore because he completely got railroaded unlawfully and his rights got violated.
Agreed.
That would be tragic to find out.
Agreed.
And I'll have to give a little bit of a plug here to FHE Health. This is something that the only reason I know existed is I had a friend in Indiana who ended up going down there. But there is a mental health and rehab facility only for first responders and military. And it is in Deerfield, Florida, and it's called FHE Health. They have a program called Shatterproof. And it's for law enforcement, military, fire, EMS dispatchers, all the first responders, right? So it's people like me and you. They have conversations like we're having right now all day. And it's 100% covered under TRICARE, and Humana actually went down there and the reps set up with a place, and they allow soldiers to go down there for up to 60 days to get fixed. And that's a big deal because, most insurances only pay, 2 weeks or 30 days for a program like that. But when the military went down there and visited that place, they're like, listen, if we're going to send you members of the military, like, we're going to send them to you to get fixed.
Yeah, that's
So
I'll be honest.
they're allowed to be here for 60 days.
Yeah, that's an immersive. That's fucking rehabilitative right there. Susan in the comments, seeking professional help is self-help.
It is. And people are afraid of it. They think they're going to be labeled, or they think it's going to ruin their career or security clearance. None of that is true. None of that is true. If you go to the doctor because you're fucking sick, or you go get an x-ray because your bone is broken, you can go to a professional help facility to help with your mental health. Mm-hmm. And they have every treatment modality down there possible. Shit I didn't even know existed. And it's an amazing place. And honestly, I felt guilty not knowing about it because I had friends in my past. I'm like, fuck, if I'd have known this place existed.
Right.
Maybe I could have got him some help. But what freaked me out was that I came from the Indiana National Guard, who uses this place, has this place on speed dial, right? I come to the Kentucky National Guard and their behavioral health doesn't know the place exists. And I'm like, this is like, you guys, if you're a behavioral health worker and facility, and this is not a tool in your toolbox, like, we are set up for failure. So if you're a state right now, or somebody's watching this, and you work in behavioral health, and like you don't know what shatterproof is, there's only two places like in the nation. One's on the West Coast, but the East Coast one's over here. That's it right there. If you don't know that place exists, you need to call them, get their admissions number on speed dial, and you can literally place one phone call and they will do the rest. Is phenomenal, and I encourage soldiers to take advantage of it. If you're like that soldier that called a year ago and you're to the breaking point and you're drinking every day and you're stressed out because of your job, like nothing is more important than your mental health and you being here to be in the fight.
Right.
So, yeah, I wanted to give them a plug because I've experienced them firsthand, and it's a life-saving place. It's super awesome. But yeah, that's all the notes I had, man. What other questions you got? Where do we go from here?
I think we've been bickering pretty good back and forth. Everyone's been pretty cooperative in the chats. I appreciate everybody getting involved. Well, I guess at this point now, we just, I also drop FHE's Health's link inside the chats as well already. So the 2 YouTube pages and the 2 Facebook pages are getting it in the chats.
Awesome.
So at this point, what's next for you? What's your next step?
I have a separation board where we're going to go hash all this out, scheduled in May. It was supposed to be in March. They tried to really get me out as fast as they can, but lo and behold, after the Watson show came out, it got pushed back till May. Doing something right. So that separation board, from my understanding, is going to be a complete fucking circus. At least that's what I've been told. I don't know if it's open to the public. I don't know if it's going to be completely closed door. I don't know if it's going to be completely captured. I don't know if it's going to be a fair and impartial board. It's a Wild West. That's coming up, and that's going to determine the fate of whether I get separated from being an M-Day soldier. And the way they describe it is they call it the Super 15-6. It's the investigation of the investigation
of all investigations.
Yeah. So when you have a shitty investigation and they try and fire you all the way out for the same thing, then it goes to this board and they're like, well, let's roll back and let's kind of relook at the whole thing. So all this shit is going to get hashed out in a separation board in May. And I have no faith in it already. Right. I'm like, if the system's captured, they're all appointed by the same organization that's getting rid of me. There's no hope. But if I'm there, my TDS on the other side, like, oh, there's hope. So we're kind of somewhere in the middle. So I've got this separation board as part of my due process. And I'm working to get my med board process progressed against a lot of resistance I've had against that. And I don't know, we'll see. It's just like that article about soldiers turning to social media. If there's a positive outcome at this separation board, I can tell you right now, I'll never attribute it to anything other than the fact that this all went public.
Agreed. All for you just reporting something that as a mandatory reporter, you reported.
Yeah. So to the point where I'm facing the guillotine anyway. I'm like, well, I might as well let everybody watch because now it's transparent. Mm-hmm. Now everyone knows about this, right? So now everyone can follow it and see what happens at the separation board. Because my idea of that is let's pry the doors open to that as much as we can and put eyes on. Because when the doors are open, it's a lot harder to do shady things. Mm-hmm. So that's what's next is the separation board in May. I'm still growing every day on my journey with mental health. I fight that every day. And that's all I've got going on. This has consumed my whole life. It's life consuming. I dream about this shit. I wake up in the middle of the night. I'm up late doing this, and I'm doing this every day. Yeah, and now that, it's given me purpose, honestly. Now that these witnesses are pouring in with all these accounts, and I'm like, shit, I can help these people.
Right. And again, and also don't forget your assistance book there for the soldier. The legal guide for the troops, man.
I got some things to publish.
Yeah. You got I mean, that's a lot. I always tell other veterans this too. Don't contain this stuff. Don't hoard the knowledge. Get some. I mean, other mentors have told me the same thing. get published, write some things out, because that way it's out there. Get your, we're plugging your Aaron Watson, the Aaron Watson show anyways. And so, make sure you of course share, like, and follow on Aaron's, platform. But yeah, stay tuned, I guess.
Yeah. And I will, I'm going to shamelessly ask for help, because this is what I need. The Watson show needs not only people watching it, but I need the stories, right? We know there is a track record now of putting stuff on social media at the last ditch effort, right? After you've done all these administrative processes and they haven't worked, it is effective, right? And as scared as people are of reprisal and retaliation, the safest thing you can do, in my mind, is go as fully public with the issues as you can, because then you have the safety of transparency. No, it's hard to beat you up behind closed doors, or it's easy to beat you up behind closed doors. It's harder to do it in the middle of the town square, right? So I need people to reach out to me with these stories. I need the witnesses to come forward. You can completely remain anonymous. I have attorneys that can help with that, whether you're part of the DOD or not. We need people to come forward and have a voice, and help get this knowledge out there.
We got your page in the chats, by the way, the link right there. So
I appreciate that.
Yeah, man. And then of course, anything that you have come up, anything that you have, any posted stuff. As a matter of fact, I think we should continue your story, your plight, your struggle, it should go. Your next post should be on your Aaron Watson page, and we'll share it. And I got no problem. We got no problem sharing it. That's not an issue.
I appreciate that. That's a big deal. And as this gets public and spills out into different command channels and people get eyes on it, people see it for what it is. And then, magically, bad shit starts to happen less.
Right. That's the whole idea. And again, with that article from Task and Purpose, if shit was just done right, there would be no WTF moments. There would be no Aaron Watson show. There would be no there would be WTF Nation Radio, because we would still be doing the veteran thing. But there would be no Army WTF moments. There would be none of these meme pages that are out there, like dank memes for Dragon Teens or first screaming memes. They would not be out there if just shit was just happening right. I mean, you just got to just open up a platform and you'll see the stories and you're like, what the fuck is going on? And this has nothing to do with administrations. This has nothing to do. I personally think that it's a culture within the Army, and it's just, oh, okay, well, you're good to go. Then why have the fucking policies to begin with then if it's good to go,
Exactly. And I've always said, like, I love the organizations, right? I've sacrificed my entire life and put it into this. And the organization's not the problem. It's the fucking people.
Amen. Amen.
Right. There are great leaders and shitty leaders at every level. Amen. I mean, I think that particular Task and Purpose article, they had to get rid of a 4-star fucking general. Right. And it didn't happen until it all came out on social media.
Yeah, exactly.
Imagine that. We can't hold a 4-star general accountable until it's on Facebook.
Easy now. That's misinformation and disinformation.
Oh yeah. You don't want to, that's prejudice to good order and discipline.
Oh yeah. Don't be an insider threat. Ooh.
Oh yeah. Look at me. I've got armed guards where I go. Aaron's dangerous.
Exactly.
Fuck me.
Oh
yeah, we'll put a bolo out on you.
Yeah, exactly. But you got the better beard though. Anyway, so Aaron, dude, thanks again so much for hanging out, brother. This has been, we've walked this path together, and it's, we're going almost a year now of us, coming this middle of summer. Yeah, it will be almost a year of us walking this. 14 cases, guys. 14 cases. There was 9 from what me and Aaron discussed the first time. Now there's 14. And so,
yeah. And if the adjunct general doesn't want to sit down and discuss those issues internally, well, we're going to be right here discussing all of those 14 cases.
Yeah, exactly. All exactly. Make sure you share, like, and follow. Get on the Aaron Watson Show's page. It's in the chats. Make sure you check out FHE Rehab as well. And again, brother, thank you so much for hanging out. You got any last words before we punch out?
No, man, thanks again for the opportunity, and we'll be in touch. And if you're watching this, do not hesitate to reach out to me. I'm very responsive.
Rock on. Okay, so since we didn't take a break, we're going to close the show out. And so me and Aaron are closing the show out. Make sure you share, like, and follow. We're live on 5 different platforms, 2 Facebook pages, 2 YouTube pages at U.S. Army WTF Moments and WTF Nation Radio. And, of course, X at WTF Nation Radio as well. Do you have an X account, by the way?
Absolutely, have an X account. Paid for the verification, everything. Elon's got my money. Yeah.
What is your X account? What's your your
it's
X account?
it's the Aaron Watson.
The Aaron Watson. Let me see. Matter of fact, I will go to the control panel and go to. There you go. Still got that same picture right there. As a matter of fact, we're going to WTF Nation Radio is going to give you a follow. So
all right,
there you go.
Got it.
Yep. So the Aaron Watson. Matter of fact, I'll drop that thing in there too. I'll drop it in the fucking chats so everybody can see it. There we
Appreciate
go.
it.
So it's in the chats. Again, we try to do a show at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Of course, technicalities and downloads and updates and all that, but we will start. There will be a show, every day. We just about got one every day. We have today's the Monday edition, and of course, Tuesday's Pop Culture Warrior. Wednesday is the Smoke Pit. Thursday is Stars Time. Friday is FTX. Saturday is the co-ops with weekend co-ops. And then, of course, I almost forgot, the Sports Bar. So make sure you tune in, share, like, and follow. And other than that, me and Aaron are going to shoot the shit behind the scenes. So y'all have a good night. Shots. See you.
WTF Nation Radio. WTF Nation Radio.
Sometimes when I look at, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, I think it's WTF Army or something.
The voice of U.S. Army. WTF Moments. This is WTF Nation Radio.
Hey, this is SEAC retired John Wayne Troxel. You're listening to WTF Nation Radio, the station of choice for all of the badass MFers on the planet.
The voice of U.S. Army. WTF Moments. This is WTF Nation Radio.
Driving us insane. ATF 0 dark 30, no time to complain. Push up in the mud, feel the muscle strain. Army life, it's a wild ride. WTF moments can't hide. Through the fire we survive, in the ranks we thrive. It's WTF moments, in the army's grind. Through the blood and sweat we find our kind. In the chaos and the fire we stand aligned. Warriors forged in the battle's bind. Hilltops in the desert, sandstorms in our eyes. Memories for breakfast, no room for lies. Rock marches through the night under starless skies. Brothers and sisters, we rise. Army life, it's a wild ride. WTF moments can't hide. Through the fire we survive, in the ranks we thrive. It's WTF moments, in the army's grind. Through the blood and sweat we find our kind. In the chaos, in the fire we stand aligned. Warriors forged in the battle's bind. Drill sergeant's fury echoing in the air. Discipline and duty we all must bear. Battle bodies by our side in the fight we share. In the face of danger we dare. Army life, it's a wild ride. WTF moments can't hide. Through the fire we survive, in the ranks we thrive. It's WTF moments, in the army's grind. Through the blood and sweat we find our kind. In the chaos and the fire we stand aligned. Warriors forged in the battle's bind. Souls and firefights, adrenaline's rush. Silent nights, broken by the enemy's hush. Medics on the move in the heat of the crush. In the heart of battle we trust. It's WTF moments, in the army's grind. Through the blood and sweat we find out our kind. In the chaos and the fire we stand aligned. Warriors forged in the battle. Army life, it's a wild ride. WTF moments can't hide. Through the fire we survive, in the ranks we thrive. Memories in our mind. Brothers lost but never left behind. Army WTF moments in the stories we find. In the army's embrace, we're forever entwined. It's WTF moments in armies grind through the blood and sweat. We find our own kind. In the chaos, in the fire, we stand aligned. Warriors forged in the battle's bind. Through the smoke and the flames, we rise again. In the heart of the storm, we find our sin. Battle bodies by our side, our men. In the army's legacy, we transcend.
Everything stated on WTF Nation Radio is to be considered the opinion of the person that stated it, and not an official representation of WTF Nation Radio or U.S. Army WTF Moments.
Price does not include tax, title, or license. Some assembly required. Each item sold separately. Batteries not included. Objects in mirror are closer than they appear. If conditions persist, contact a physician. Individual results may vary. Keep out of the reach of children. Avoid prolonged exposure to direct sunlight. Keep in a cool, dark place. And
please enjoy the show. Shots.
Я батько. Я молодший брат.
Я водій маршрутки. Я скоро одружуся. Я фанат шахтера.
Начальник отдела продаж.
Я прораб.
Я программист. Я свидетель на свадьбе.
Борщица.
Дядя Юра, таксист. Я вчитель фізкультури.
Я студент-геолог.
У мене своя фірма. Я кращий друг зі школи. Я сусід, який завжди стукає по батареї.
Я єдиний син.